Hey, what's up guys? So in today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different than what I normally do on this channel, because as most of you guys know now, Warzone 2 has been out for a little over 2 months, and I've never really made like a top 5 loadout video like a lot of other creators do. And I figured since I've tried basically every gun in the game minus a few of the snipers, I feel like I have a pretty good input on what I believe is the best loadouts you can use right now. Like I said before, it's gonna be top 5 best loadouts, and I'm gonna start with what I think might be like the worst out of the 5 and then end with like the best out of the 5. And feel free to let me know down in the comments below if I forgot any secret meta weapons that you guys have been liking. So for number 5, or the first loadout that I wanted to put on this list, I wanted to do a sniper because, as most of you guys know, the snipers aren't one-shot headshot at any distance. In my honest opinion, I feel like the best sniper that you can possibly use in Warzone 2 at the moment is the Signal 50. If I'm going to use the Signal 50, I'm probably going to pair it with the 74U as my secondary, because the AK-74U has very good time to kill up close and can maintain pretty good damage range accuracy. The biggest reason I'm putting the Signal 50 over all the other snipers is because you can rechamber the shots incredibly quickly, and it doesn't really have that bad of an ADS speed either. And for the secondary for this loadout, I was really considering whether or not I would do the AK-74U or maybe the Chimera, because the Chimera is also a very good sniper support weapon, but I feel like it's only really good if you're consistently hitting headshots on the enemy. For this video, of course, I'm using the Weapon Specialist perk package so I can have Overkill and show you both the guns in the same class. But the 2 perk packages that I usually use the most on most of my loadouts is either Scout or Recon. But yes, if you're looking for a good sniper class to run, the Signal 50 is definitely going to be your go-to. And the 74U will actually outgun the Fennec in certain scenarios. It just has a little bit less mobility. Moving on forward to number 4 in this list, I'm going to cover an assault rifle, which is the TAC-56, not to be confused with the better version of it, which is the TAC-V. The TAC-56 is lesser powerful than the TAC-V, but it is incredibly easy to control when you have the right attachments on it. And in my opinion, I really feel like it's honestly probably the easiest to control AR that's in the entire game. I guess one plus side to the TAC-56 is that you can run a 60-round magazine, which I'm aware most of the ARs do have that option, but it's pretty nice to have, especially in squad-based modes. And then of course, the secondary that I would pair the TAC-56 with would be the Fennec SMG. I don't really think I need to explain much about the Fennec, but obviously it has the fastest time to kill out of all the SMGs right now. And when built right, it also has some of the best ADS and mobility speed as well. Both these weapons combined in the same loadout is a pretty good combination, mainly because the TAC-56 is good at medium and long range, while the Fennec is primarily good at close range. So you're really not putting yourself at much of a disadvantage when running these 2 weapons together. The only thing that you might need to watch out for is the RPK might be able to beam you from further away distances than the TAC-56 can. But on the plus side, the TAC-56, considering it being an AR, does have a lot better mobility and reload speed than the RPK does. Coming up on number 3 on the list, I wanted to talk about an AR that not a lot of people are really talking about, although it's really good. The AR, of course, is the Kastov 7.62 assault rifle. Kastov 7.62 is basically the chunky version of the AK-47. There's also the Taskov 5.45, but it's not nearly as good as the 7.26. Just like most of the guns on this list, when built right, this thing has virtually no recoil whatsoever, and its damage range is actually comparable to the RPK's damage range. I think the biggest reason as to why many people might not be using the Kastov 7.62 is because it only has a 40-round magazine option, which of course in squad-based game modes might not really be ideal, but it'd be perfect in all the other modes. Of course, with all long-range weapons on this list, this weapon is very good when paired with the Fennec, but I wanted to showcase another underdog SMG that still not a lot of people are mentioning, and that underdog SMG is the Lachmann Sub. Now, the setup that I use has an incredibly fast ADS speed, but maybe a little bit harder to control at distance. So of course you can build it differently than the one that I prefer, but the one that I use has very fast ADS and mobility. And in a game like Warzone 2, where the time to kill is so quick and instantaneous, I feel like your reaction speed paired with ADS speed and movement definitely means the most, because using this build for the Lachmann Sub, you can actually ADS and get your first shot off on an opponent that may be using the Fennec or other SMGs. Of course, I'll be showing the builds and the tuning for both of these weapons like I have been, but I just wanted to remind you guys that for most of my loadouts, I do use the Recon or the Scout perk package, and 99% of the time I use smoke grenades and claymores. I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably wondering when I was going to mention this gun, and here it finally is. Number 2 on the list, I'm going to do the TAC-V paired with the P890 pistols. Now, I figured I would at least put the pistols in the video once, even though they did get nerfed a while ago, they're still incredibly good. And the TAC-V has a time to kill that's almost better than the RPK. Actually, it's just a lot harder to control. When it comes to the pistols, I feel like there's not really much of a reason to grab them anymore, because you can get your close range or long range gun alone from the buy station, and then you can do a stronghold or just wait for the free loadout to get your primary and perks. But nonetheless, even though that is a thing, the pistols are still a very viable secondary. They just don't have much range, obviously, with them being akimbo. And like I mentioned prior, the TAC-V is probably one of the most broken long range guns in the game. I think if they ever buffed the TAC-V's recoil or made it a little bit easier to control, I think that would be the new meta after the RPK inevitably gets nerfed. But if you're pretty good at controlling recoil and you can hit your shots pretty well at long distances with guns that have a lot of recoil, then the TAC-V is definitely your go-to. I guess the only real problem with running these 2 weapons together would be that you wouldn't really have many guns that are for medium range. The TAC-V would definitely work for medium range. It just has kind of like a weird and awkward ADS speed and animation. But other than that, if you're a pretty talented Warzone 2 player, this is probably going to be the loadout more up towards your alley, of course paired with the Fennec instead of the pistols. And ladies and gentlemen, for number 1 in our top 5 loadout list, and the final one that we're going to showcase in this video, it's probably going to be an immense shocker to most of you guys, and you probably never saw this one coming, but that loadout is going to be be the RPK paired with the Fennec. Now, this meta has basically been meta since the day Warzone 2 came out, and we're not really expecting to see a different meta all the way until February 15th with the launch of Season 2. But as many of you guys know, the RPK is both one of the easiest to control guns to use, has the best damage range ever, has a pretty decently fast reload speed for an LMG, and it also has one of the fastest TTKs in the game. Of course, paired with the Fennec, like I mentioned earlier, the Fennec is the best SMG you can use in the game at the moment, which also has the fastest TTK as well. And as many of you guys know, when you're up against a Fennec, there's not really many opportunity for you to kill that person unless you're also using a Fennec yourself. I will say there are some long-range weapons that it will be able to do a little bit better than the RPK, like the TAC-V I mentioned earlier. But the recoil pattern on the TAC-V is so hard to control that the RPK is most likely going to outgun you by the time you land all the shots needed to get it down. There's not much really else to say about both the RPK and the Fennec. It's just if you're not running those on your loadout now, I don't really know what else you'd be running. And fingers crossed that we see a pretty hefty nerf come Season 2, because honestly, I'm kind of getting tired of using the same two guns when I want to do really well. This is actually my first ever top 5 video that I've ever done in this channel. Let me know how I did in the comments below, and if you guys think I should do more videos like that, feel free to let me know as well, because I'm not sure if you guys have mentioned I'm not the greatest at Warzone 2. I'm kind of just waiting for you know, Rebirth Island to come out. Nonetheless, though, hope you guys learned something and enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you guys for watching.